I guess now is as good a time as any to get started. Welcome everyone back to my first show of the latest season of 343 TV. What's up everyone? Every time I see that animation, it cracks me up. It's ridiculous. I'm John Selway. Been a little while since I've been on. Had a nice break over the summer. Actually, it didn't feel like a break. It's been pretty busy. We've had classes at 343, and I've had family stuff and traveling, and it's like it never ends. It's constant, nonstop. So, some of you may know, some regular viewers out there. I see a couple of you in the chat. Some of you may know already that this is 343 TV. I am John Selway. This is Techno Saturdays, where I hang out with you and make music. Occasionally, I have guests. I do tutorials every now and then. Sometimes we just hang out and listen to music and talk. Sometimes we have specific subjects. Sometimes we don't. But it's generally revolving around techno and related genres. Today, I'm just going to hang out and make some electro with you guys. I kind of went into this wanting to sort of warm up and get back into it easy. So let's just see how it goes. Of course, 343 TV is brought to you by 343 Labs. We're a music production school based in New York City and in Berlin. We do online courses and in person. We do all sorts of different types of classes. I teach synthesis and sound design for producers, and I'm also an Ableton Live instructor, and just sort of, music production in general. And yeah, we're having fun. We're growing our community. We've been doing this streaming thing for a while now. It's a lot of fun. We have our Discord that you can join if you want to get into things a little bit more deep and check out what we're doing there. We've got sample challenges. There's one coming up pretty soon, actually. You can get feedback on your tracks. We're beta testing a new program now called 343 Studio. A subscription-based model where you have access to the instructors and workshops and all sorts of content and getting feedback and collaboration workshops. So things are growing, and it's great. And I'm glad to see you guys here today. Let's see who is in the chat. Who was first today? Easemonth, what's up? You were first today. We've got Miles from Trinidad and Tobago. Greetings. Soul Beats, what's up? Virtually J. Todilas, 71. Collective, respect from Glasgow. DJ Lovehouse is wondering if Mr. Bob Dabalina is in the house. I haven't seen Mr. Bob Dabalina. What artist did that? That's a 90s track, isn't it? I remember that sample from a hip hop track. Remind me who that is. We've got Pavel. Pavel is a regular and a student. Nice to see you again here. And Marcus Fisher, hello from Frankfurt. Hello right back from New York City. Right here. It's a special day, everybody. So that's what my background is all about. Just keeping that in our thoughts today as we proceed. Who else is in here? I think, is that most everybody? CME Group 23, what up, fam? I am old school. I've been around. I've been making electronic music of various styles, mostly techno, since the very late 80s, early 90s. So yeah. I've been around. I know some things. And let's see. Silvano Cortazar. I'm glad you signed up for the beta. That's great. I might be seeing you. I got an office hour and a workshop coming up. Actually, that's another reason why I'm focusing on Electro today is I decided to do an hour and a half workshop for the beta of 343 Studios, where I'm just going to kind of do what we're doing here, but more interactive because we'll be in a Zoom meeting. You guys can ask, more specific questions, and I can, anyway. That's, I think, the whole thing about 343 Studio is it's like kind of like this format, but a step closer, a little more access, a little more interactive, especially the collaboration thing, which is looking pretty cool. We're just getting started with that. And finally, we've got Ulimer from Prague. Hello. Detroit Rising, and Wayne Me. Hello. So yeah, nice group. A lot of new names, which is excellent. I like to see new names in here. And anyway, having a little bit of fun today. I've got a super special secret guest, surprise guest Give it up, everybody, for Christian Smith's TR-909. I've been playing around with this machine this week. I know, you're like, what? Who's Christian Smith? Why is this your special guest? But this very special 909 belongs to my longtime friend and production partner, Christian Smith. I've been holding on to this for him for, I want to say, decades now. He keeps telling me, you got to sell it, man. Sell it. We don't need it anymore. But I've tried. It's really hard to let go of it. And I've been using it this week. Of course, a couple days ago we had 909 Day, September 9th. And so I decided that in honor of 909 Day, I would use the 909 to make an electro beat. Usually, most electro uses different sounding drums. It's usually based around 808 style, right? You got those short, sharp, bright sounds and the big booming kick or the really tight kick. So the 909 has a sort of a thicker, chunkier, sort of breaky feel when you use it for electro, and I kind of like that. So that's what I'm going to use today, with plus effects, right? And I just see in the chat here, we have our giveaway. As usual, we have sponsors. This week, we're sponsoring ourselves for the giveaway. You can enter to win a 343 Pro session of your choice. We do this occasionally. We invite artists and producers to come in and show the way they do things, and you can, get in there, see how they work in their studio, see what their workflow is, ask all the questions you want. So definitely check that out. Hit that link. If you haven't already, subscribe to 343 Labs, please. And we're just begging you. Let's get that subscription count up. Hit the like down here or the dislike, whatever you feel. There's the notifications, all those things I'm supposed to tell you to do as a guy streaming or doing content on YouTube. So who else is in here? Do we have another new name? Pitch Adjust. Hi from Eskişehir, Turkey. Fantastic. I love how global our audience is. It's great that we can reach out and all be kind of closer together and learn something. All right, so we did my little introduction to my special guest here. I've been talking to the chat a little bit. Let's just start playing around. All right. Yeah, my guest is joining me in the DAW room here. I'm just gonna start by listening. I started ahead of the stream, just fooling around a little bit, getting some ideas. And what I started with was, as I said, I'm playing around with the 909 for the beats. I'm not running individual outs, but I'm just using the stereo output of the 909 going into my sound card, and I'm just gonna, sample it, basically just record it as it sounds and then use that as a loop and then basically make it sound different using effects. All right, so I'm actually going to turn the effects off and hear what this thing sounds like, just sort of as it was, dry. I've got that typical Kraftwerk Numbers, Planet Rock style beat. Actually, there's a little rim shot in there that I added too. And also you can hear I'm kind of tweaking the hi-hats a little bit and the snare a little bit. Just quickly testing it. And then squashing the heck out of it. Using Ableton Live's drum bus just to pump it up. Because, as classic and amazing as the 909 sounds, it's so punchy, it's so powerful. Running a dry 909 into a sound system is just incredibly huge and punchy, and, it just has that energy, right? Recording it, sometimes it actually sounds a little bit thin. So, just as a rule of thumb, this goes for a lot of different types of sounds, of course, but once you start saturating, distorting, compressing, pushing the signal coming out of the 909, that's where it really starts coming alive for me. So that's what I'm using the Live's drum bus here for today, is to give it some extra boom, to drive it, to compress it. I've got the transient designer adding even more punch to already punchy sounds. But still, it's an electro rhythm. The groove feels right. it doesn't sound super futuristic and electro to me though. Like it's a little, like I said, it's almost a little more breaky, chunky sounding in a way. You know, that's just the character of these sounds. I mean, I've got the hi-hat decay is almost as short as it goes, and I reduced, for the most part, I reduced the decay of the snare drum so it's tighter, although I played with that. And the hi-hats are a little bit shorter, but it still doesn't have that typical kind of electro vibe. And to get that, to make it sound sort of more tweaked out and electronic, I'm using effects. And one of my favorite like basic starting effects for electro is to use really short delay times. And it kind of sets up a situation where you get some comb filtering, and that comb filtering produces a metallic tone, and then you increase the feedback, you play around with the delay time, and you can hear these kind of metal ringing effects. And so that's what's going on here. I've got a delay on the return. I put a compressor after it just to kind of squash it and control it a little bit. I might tweak that actually. And to start with, actually, but let's hear what it sounds like already. And then I'll go back and kind of go over how I got there. I could just sit here and dance to this for the next 45 minutes. I never get tired of this beat. Right, so I've got this kind of modulated, tonal, weird, filtery effect on the drums. Let's take that back a notch, right? So if I go back to this default delay in live, and that's, your typical bouncing rhythmic echoes, got the synced dotted eighth note delay. Now I'm turning the sync off and it's a mess. I'm going to bring that delay time real fast. And that's what I'm talking about with the short delay time and the comb filtering. We're hearing some frequencies being canceled, some of them being boosted, the overtones of the sound, and then the feedback starts ringing. If I use a longer delay time, pitch goes down. Yes, Eulimar says, needs more cowbell. We might get there. I mean, that's the 808 has a cowbell. The 909 doesn't have a cowbell. That might be why I added the ride rim shot, because it has a little bit of, it's not a cowbell, but it's adding that extra layer. All right, so I can change the tone of it. I want to tone it down. I can use a filter to remove some highs, or make it brighter and get it away from the kick drum and have it more on the snare and the hi-hats and the rim. I'm just going for it. Make it bright. All right, and that sounds cool, but then I thought, modulation. I can get this even crazier because this delay has a built-in LFO in this modulation section. It doesn't say LFO, but that's what it is. And you can modulate the filter frequency or the time or both. And you can go from real slow, like 0.01, which is super, super, super slow, all the way up to 40 hertz, which is audio rate, which means it can start the ring mod and make even more new frequencies. Actually, it's not even ring mod. It's the filter, it's filter FM. Actually, it's frequency modulation. So, but anyway, we're going into audio rate, and it makes a more complex sound. It sounds pretty crazy. So let's play with that a little bit. I'm going to bring the rate up really high. Let's start with the time. So you hear kind of moving a little bit. And you're hearing some pitch modulation happening in there. I'm still getting distracted by the groove. What? I could just make a whole track playing with this. I probably will do that actually. Actually, I'm gonna probably one of the most important lessons to learn with workflow and sound design and inspiration, and especially with music like this where you get so much out of tweaking parameters of synths and effects, is record it when it happens. I mean, probably like it used to be like engineers would say in the studio, they would say record everything. Just have it recording all the time. Don't even tell the artists that in the other room that you're recording. Just be recording no matter what, so you don't miss anything good. So you can kind of think that way for yourself. But I'm actually just gonna record some of this playing around, and I can either capture it to audio or I can record automation. Let's just keep it simple. I'm trying to keep it like not too crazy and too much to think about. And I just want to have attitude and not be too persnickety and particular about every tiny little thing. And, I want to go back and change it. I'm just going to record it into audio and keep it. And whatever happens, happens. So let's capture some of this on another track. We'll say audio from 3 audio. That's my 909 channel. And activate that track. And I'm just going to try to like play with the effects musically. It doesn't matter if it sucks, just keep going. This probably would have come out 100 times better if I wasn't live streaming right now. All right, let's do the filter. Just gonna keep messing with it. All right, I just hit ping pong and it's making the left and the right. I think they're octaves from one another. It's like one's double the frequency of the other one. Sounds kind of cool. I like it best when it's like this, when it's got, again, that kind of robotic metallic tone to it. That sounds awesome. All right. You get the idea. Now, as I did that, I realized I think I made a mistake. Something to watch out for. I just set up the audio track to record directly out of the drums, forgetting that I was doing all the effects on a return. So in this case, in order to capture all of that, the smart move would have been to do resampling instead of routing directly out of the track. So instead of audio from 909 track, I should have done resampling, and that would have captured everything as it was supposed to be. Anyway, we won't worry about it. We'll move on. Let's get back into the chat and see if we have any questions or any nice comments. Let's see. Hey, Enigmatic Onion, nice to have you back. Long time no see, exactly. And congratulations on you're working on your first LP. Okay, I'll take that back. I'll save the congratulations for when you're done, but that is awesome news. Good luck with that. I like this. PK Ipper or Iper, forever modulate that rhythm. Absolutely. Just keep those sounds moving. Keeps them interesting, right? And thanks, Enigmatic Onion. Thanks to 343 for teaching me. We really appreciate that. Thanks for being a regular here. Thanks for staying with us and being a part of our community. That's excellent. So, anyone got any SoundCloud links of my tunes? Well, if you just search for John Selway on SoundCloud, you'll find stuff. My newest release came out recently on Tronic Music. It's called Interstellar Express. It's kind of a musical electro track, and then Christian Smith did a more banging techno remix. So check that out. I don't know if I get a second. You can't copy links into the YouTube chat. YouTube just kind of takes those away. But anyway, just Google search me. You'll find it. And here's a question. I wonder how it would sound if you made, say, left 27 milliseconds and right channel around 45. 3 to 5 is a ratio I use very often. That's interesting. It's funny. You can use like all, basic math and number relationships and ratios in music in so many different ways. And let's try it. Let's see what that sounds like. If I go in, I need to unlink the left and the right in order to have separate times for the left and the right channel. And what did you say? You said 27 milliseconds. So let's type that in. And then 45. What is that going to do? It's going to create a musical interval. Oh, except that for the fact that I'm actually modulating the heck out of this. So let's get rid of the modulation. So why didn't that sound like it did before? It sounds cool. It's a cool echo. It's a cool delay effect. But it's not, we're not hearing a, actually, I'm also, the ping pong's messing it up. So before I continue, let's listen to it with the ping pong off. All right, a little tighter, a little more ringy. But why might we not be hearing that metallic buzz anymore? So right now, the delay times are too slow to produce an identifiable pitch. And this is something that I go over in synthesis and sound design, and I mention it here all the time because it comes up all the time. But audio rate modulation, like oscillation, producing a tone or producing new frequencies in a sound. In this case, a delay time that short with feedback is basically creating kind of an oscillation. And when the speed of the delay is as fast as the frequency of an audible pitch, that's when it happens. So 45 is too slow, but once you get up close to 20 and faster, it starts to sound like we hear a pitch. That sounds awesome. I should be recording that. All right, so I'm going to do this again. I'm going to record that because it sounds great. And instead of going straight out of the drum track, I'm doing resampling here. So let's hit that. Get a version that's shorter, less feedback. I'm making all sorts of mistakes today in my hurry. I just realized that I have the dry wet set to 50% on my return channel, which is something you usually don't want to do. In this case, I'm not going to worry too much about it, but let's hear what it sounds like with the 100% wet. So the effects are louder now. We're not doubling the signal from the dry track. Actually sounds a little more open. So that was important. I'm also, now it's also the delay with the feedback it's going louder into the compressor. It's squashing it a little bit more. It's making it a little bit tighter. So let's record that one more time. Go even shorter. All right, that's probably good enough. All right, now I'm playing back the audio that I just bounced. Luminous Cloud says, I like to map the envelope follower to filter frequency over a loop or on a synth and use a break as a modulation source. That's a cool idea. I'm going to try to remember that because we do need to get into some synth sounds too. Right. So we'll remember that. That's a really good tip from you. Luminous Cloud sounding good, Professor Zoid. I like that. I believe you're referring to one of my old electro tracks from the 90s, Millennium Sound, which has a vocoder vocal in it. Uh-oh. I got an idea. How's that sound? You like that? You can't stop the Zoid. All right. Yes. I had that in there just to play around with. We'll see if we'll get back to that. Silvano Cortazar. All week I have been wondering how to capture my return tracks and been creating separate alternative tracks, which is a lot more work. Thank you for resampling advice. Yes, but also you can resample directly from the return track. So let's say I only wanted to record the output of the returns. I could just go there. And now if I record it, it won't have, and especially now that I made the delay 100% wet, if I go and record this again, that should only get what's coming out of the return channel. So you can do them separately if you want to process them separately or mix them separately. Could be useful. Oh, except that there is a delay. That's annoying. Yeah, I think that we might be running into like a live delay, a plugin compensation delay thing. Like, you see how it put in a little bit of a gap there. So I know that happens with the return channel. So, I mean, I can correct that. I can just change the warping, slide that over in time. Like if I make that 1. Should be in time now. Yep. All right. I've got another good question. Ivan Rodriguez, what was the signal flow when you're recording from the 909 to a new track? Sure, let's do that again. That's an easy thing to do. All right, I'll make a new audio track. I've got my input and outputs viewable here. I'm going to choose audio from external in, and then I've got a lot of input channels on this audio interface. The 909 is plugged into 15 and 16, so I'm going to select those. And I'm sending MIDI to the drum machine. I need to send it clock so that it's operating at the same tempo as live is. So I've got my MIDI output from the audio interface. I've got sync selected. There's always a little bit of a delay. It depends on the hardware, depends on the interface. Some of you may know live does not have the best, most stable clocking with external MIDI devices. There's different ways to get around it. It just depends. Everybody's experience is different depending on your computer, depending on your interface, depending on your hardware, whatever. But I have it set with a bit of a minus 25 milliseconds to line up live's metronome with the clock of the 909. And that's the first thing I need to do when I'm recording a drum machine, is to make sure that it's in sync. All right, let's turn the record activation on. It's set to auto, so whenever the track is armed, I can hear the input signal. And let's hear what happens when I play back. Oi, 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 I'm not hearing anything. What is going on? Uh-oh, dead air. Yeah, it looks like my 909 is not happy. Let's see. Oh, I had the wrong inputs. It's 17 and 18, not 15 and 16. Okay, that was dumb. So you can see it's a little bit off. Let's turn the metronome on. I want to make sure you guys hear the metronome, so let's send that to the stream out. Yeah. It's definitely off. So this is why you do the delay. I don't know why, minus 25 to 30 seconds was working before. You can hear it's drifting a little bit. All right, that's close enough. We hope. All right, and then, all right. I'm having some MIDI issues. That's just something that happens. But that's the workflow. That's how I got it into the audio track. And this is still usable even with the delay. Again, I can like shift this loop over and it should sync fairly correctly. Let's see how that works. Yeah, you can see it skipped a little bit at the beginning. This is the thing that happens. I love that it's happening during the stream. This is the thing that happens with MIDI clocks, external MIDI clocks, and live that people complain about. All right, so let's go back to my original recording, which is working fine. Nice. All right, so we've got the beats laid down. Let's move on to, well, actually, before I move on, I'll take a moment just to acknowledge at our halfway point. Again, this is 343 TV, brought to you by 343 Labs. We do this almost every day. We've got some new streamers, actually, to check out. We've got some new members of the team. I'm very interested and excited to see how they do and to cheer them on, so definitely come back. If you haven't already, check out our Discord. Links are below. We've got a sample challenge active. I think we might have hit the due date for the latest one, but come and check out our Discord if you haven't already. There's a lot of cool stuff going on in there. As we usually do, we have a giveaway. This time it's a 343 Pro session of your choice. Look out for the link here in the chat. And if you'd like to know more about the school, what we do, upcoming courses, new programs, like our 343 Studio that we're in beta now, definitely head to our website. The link is below in the description. Also, if you're in Europe or Germany, if you're local to Berlin, we have in-person courses in Berlin, and we have instructors also in those time zones. So definitely check out both our US and our German site. And again, we've got links in the description below. Let's check in with the chat again. What is happening? Anthony Rother, nice to hear from you. Respect. It's an honor to have you here. And yes, I love to share what we all love about Electro. So really glad to have your support today. Thanks very much. And that's excellent. Wow, you made my day, Anthony. Let's see what else is going on here. Yule Lemmer says, bring the bass. Yes, we're getting there. We're going to get this 909 Electro groove going. I need to tighten up what the effects are doing, and then we're going to play with some bass and maybe some kind of a lead sound before we run out of time here. And we were talking about recording everything. Also, Goodfellas says also about recording everything. If you go back to it after a while, you can find something you like, but maybe you change everything. That's true. There's good and bad about that sort of approach, isn't there? Nice. Cool. Now, let's check out. I'm just gonna stop talking for a couple minutes and focus on how this sounds. Let's just listen to a little bit, and I'm gonna try to get some ideas about where to go with this. Now, while I do this, I teased the vocoder thing a little bit earlier. I thought it would be fun if you guys have some suggestions for words or lyrics or phrases, whatever, anything that could be cool to have the vocoder effect. So, and I will try, no big promises, but let's try and be a little bit interactive here and do this together. Think of something cool you want to hear through the vocoder, and I'll record it and try to add it to the beat in an interesting way. And, you know, it's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. Try not to be too cliche. You know, we don't need to hear about robots too much, right? But like, think of something interesting that could be cool with the vocoder on it. And we'll see if we can make it fit. I think that would be fun. And all right, I'm going to play back this beat for a little bit and see how it goes. Now, I'm Definitely going to have to play around with that delay. Oh, that's the recorded one. Let's go back to the original dry one. There we go. So I'm going to pull back on this. So it's less of the tone, because I'm going to have to tune this to get it to fit with the synths. All right. Let's jump over to this sort of melodic idea I had going on. I'm sticking to, with the exception of the 909, I'm sticking to live devices today. I'm not using any third-party plugins. I'm just using what Ableton Live can do. I like, Wavetable is like, Wavetable and Operator, for sure are my favorite synths that come with live. And I'm playing around with some kind of repetitive, techie sort of melodic sequence to lay on top of this. So this is what I've come up with so far. Now, the melodies, if you've been watching for a while, I break out this mono sequencer every now and then to come up with a quick sequence. I can generate them randomly, or I can just do easy step sequencing. It's, if I was using, like, one of my favorite classic hardware synths is the Roland SH-101, and I love it for how quick and easy it is to use the step sequencer and then come up with interesting lead lines and things like that. So that's sort of when I always pull the mono sequencer out when I'm just using live devices and I want to do something similar. And then I'm just going into this wavetable, doing some kind of high frequency, detailed, percussive, melodic thing. So let's see how that is working and see if I still like it since sort of an hour ago when I started doing it. I already see we got some good ideas for quotes in the chat. Non-locale body escapes the calculation of time and space. All right, we could try that one. Right. Yes. Oh, I need to get the keyboard control on. All right, the tuning. Why isn't the tuning coming through? There. There is the tuning. There's the pitch control for the vocoder. Non-locale body escapes the calculation of time and space. It is so easy to sound. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say it's easy. It is so fun to do that. I love it. It's great. I also know you guys are hearing me speak into the mic and hearing the vocoder coming out of Ableton Live at the same time. So it probably sounds a little weird to hear me kind of droning over top, but man, I love that. When I was a kid in the 80s, when I'd hear that, with the early breakdance stuff, the early electro stuff back then, I was such a nerd about it, and I still am. It brings back all those memories. It's still, I get the hairs on my neck standing up when I hear that stuff. And since you're here, Anthony Rother, like I'm kind of, this is a little bit your style that I'm doing today. It's sort of by accident, so it's really kind of cool. The nice coincidence that you showed up, but that's, you've got this down, so respect. I'm glad you liked the sequence, Anthony. I'm going to listen to it again and see. So it was actually, I want to point this out. I mean, this is a pretty typical thing to do with a step sequence, is to do like an odd number of steps, so it's not repeating exactly the same way every bar, right? It's sort of going out of phase and rotating. And there's a high melody, there's a high note that's creating a second sort of counterpoint melody on top of it. And this is always an easy trick to do with the mono sequencer, where you have an octave transpose. So you can create a quick variation, an octave higher or lower or more. And that is also out of sync, so to speak. So like I've got 5 steps for the pitch and I've got 3 steps for the octave. And that's creating an evolving melody on top. I should record this because I like it going from 1 octave to 2 octaves to 3 octaves. And that's something I don't believe, I'm not 100% sure because I haven't tried it, but I don't believe I can like modulate or remotely automate the octave amount in the sequence. So in order to capture that, I'm going to have to actually record the output of the monosequencer. And that's I think that's an important part of the workflow for this. And again, this is something I've done before, but capturing what you come up with the step sequencer and then recording that MIDI into a clip that you can then edit and arrange much more easily than this real-time generation, right? So let's do that real quick. And I want to set up another MIDI track. Select MIDI from, and that's going to be my wavetable track. And arm that. And let's capture some of this. Get some of the version without the octave transpose. I can bring it back. I love it with something so simple is so musically effective. It's great. All right, that was fun. Stop recording that. Anyway, if I wanted to play that back on that same instrument, we'll just turn off the monosequencer and hear what we got. Just let this go. I mean, I'm not worried about arranging today, but it'll be fun to hear the changes. All right. I'm going to go through and see about recording some of these ideas for vocoder lyrics. We got luminous clouds suggesting the non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. Should I make this rhythmic? Should I try to make it fit the beat, or should I just say it? I mean, before I kind of spaced it out like every couple of beats. It was like, you know, the non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. I think that'll work. Let's do it. All right. So the non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. All right, so you heard me say it without the vocoder on it. Let's hear what it sounds like now. The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. All right, that'll work. I don't have to get too crazy. Now, let's just go with that. I feel like the timing needs to be a little bit better. Like either I perform it better or I can go in and adjust it. There's a tiny bit of delay from the latency on the sound card. I don't want to worry about that too much, but I'm just going to slide it back. I can see where I say time or the time. Let's see if that looks like it's more on the grid now. Oh, the non soul escapes the calculations of time and space. All right, so it got out of sync. Time and space. Let's slide that over. I might be opening up a can of worms here.
non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
That's better. All right, that's not too bad. I was worried that other parts of it were going to go way out of time. But you can see how easy it is in live to just shift over those syllables to the beats you want them to be on.
The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
Time is too early. Yeah, that should be
time and space.
Better.
The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
It's a little electro cliche, but it's cool. Thanks, Luminous Cloud. Now, if somehow this gets finished and turned into a track, I'm going to have to give you a writer's credit, but I promise I will if it comes to that. If it doesn't go beyond the live YouTube demo here. This is fun today. I love this. We've got some nice suggestions in here. Axel Bunnett suggests some strings maybe with the delay or echo. I think that's excellent. Enigmatic Onion is asking, if you have a sequence on a MIDI track in live, can you turn the sound into an audio track without resampling? I thought that was part of freeze and flatten. So yeah, let me think. If you have a sequence or MIDI track in live, yeah, you can turn the sound into audio by freezing and flattening. But it's not real-time recording, but it's still resampling. You're taking the audio the computer is generating and converting it to a wave or an AIF file. So that's pretty much it. I love it. Cylon Lover. Yeah, that could be another track. Cylon Lover could totally be like a track title and a lyric. We're getting some good ideas in here. Cool. The sequence could be I'm going to listen to Anthony Rother. If he says the sequence should be louder, we're going to turn that up.
The non-locality of the soul.
I mean, this isn't mixed yet. So let's make it sound a little sharper and cleaner, shall we? Little bit of compression, why not? I'll be honest, I'm not happy with the bass sound. This is just where I started. But I want to go back to the vocoder. I want to show you what I'm using for the vocoder. This is part of, what I wanted to go over today, and that is I'm actually not using a vocoder. I am using Live's Spectral resonator, which is amazing. And it basically is like a fancier sort of a vocoder. I mean, it's processing the sound in a little bit of a different way. But, you can hear the result sounds like a typical vocoder right now. But we've got this kind of resonating filter bank here, and it's got up to 256 separate harmonics, right? So it's quite detailed, and we can play around with the sounds in some subtly different ways than you would with the typical vocoder. So I really like that Live added, Ableton added this effect. It's not, of course, it's not just for vocals. You can put it on anything. But the fact that it has this built-in MIDI input so that you can transpose the resonator with external MIDI, and it can be mono or polyphonic, so you can play chords on it. It becomes like an amazing vocoder, basically. So let's listen to what that sounds like a little bit.
The non-locality of the soul is.
I've got the unison on. Let's make it mono.
Of time and space.
All right. Let's set the start of this clip so I don't have to wait for 2 bars for it every time.
The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculation.
All right, so we're putting the unison on already. It sounds amazing.
The non-locality
just
of the
detuning
soul escapes
and panning
the
those channels, those voices.
The
shift gives you kind of a formant.
The non
locality of the soul.
Shifting.
The calculation.
The non-locality of the soul.
That sounds awesome. It's so clean. All right, we have our stretch, and that's going to change how the harmonics are distributed, all the different frequencies in there.
The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. The non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. The non.
When you stretch it down, also when you shift it down, it gets less bright. It gets a little muffled.
Non-locality of.
And it's still a cool effect. I could get into automating or modulating this for sure. Let's play with the decay a little bit. Using a short decay, it's following the input signal really tightly, but we can sort of space it out and make it sound a little bit like I was doing with the comb filtering with the delay earlier with the feedback. And then I like doing this and then filtering it. We can.
The locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
Increasing the low frequency damping, we're not hearing the low frequencies extend, but the highs are sounding kind of shiny on top.
The locality of the soul escapes the calculations.
We can also bring out
of time and space.
And once you start bringing sort of those metallic ringing tones out more, it sounds less vocodery and a little bit more like an effect on a voice. But
the non-locality of the soul escapes the calculations.
All right, let's play around with the pitch a little bit. So right now it's just the pitch that we're hearing is the last MIDI note that I played. So let's play around with that.
Locality of the soul escapes. Locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. Locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. Locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
So I can start, that's typical vocoder stuff, creating a melody out of something that wasn't sung, right? And then we can also, let's hear it with some big chords or stacked up octaves. Is that up to 16 voices? That's going to use a lot of CPU with this effect, but let's hear what it sounds like. Oi, oi, oi. All right, I feel like it's losing a little volume in the higher frequencies. Let's pump that up a little bit. I'm going to use some makeup gain on this.
The soul escapes calculations of time and space. Locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space. Escapes the calculation of time and space.
All right, I need to work on that a little bit, just in terms of melodic ideas and harmony, but I think even just
locality of the soul escapes
just the minor triad's going to sound awesome.
Of time and space. Locality of the soul escapes the calculations of time and space.
Cool. I'm having fun. I hope you guys are too. We're almost out of time. I'm not sure I'm going to get to the bass line today. I feel like we've had already a lot to play with here. Just the idea of taking this dry 909 and making it sound more electro with effects processing. Having fun with vocals in the Spectral resonator, and it was great you guys had some ideas to throw into the chat. I really appreciate that. And then looking into this, using the wavetable for this bright sort of shiny lead element, using mono sequencer to generate that pattern. I mean, I know I didn't show the process of how I got that pattern, but it was basically random. I mean, I don't want to mess this one up. I'm gonna save it and make sure that it's working correctly. But you have, if you don't already know, you can randomly generate patterns and then have them conform to a scale. So I chose F minor. I think when I was playing around with the delay on the drums, the comb filtering sort of metallic effect on the drums before, I identified the pitch as an F. So I changed this to F and I made it minor because I knew I didn't want it to be too happy sounding. And then I randomized it and hit conform to scale. And that's how I ended up with this. It was a happy accident. So that came out pretty good. And then I I guess we haven't really gone into the details of how I made the sound and wavetable, but that could be another day. Let's go into the chat and see how you guys are doing, see if we can have any last minute questions. I like this question. Anthony Rother, please do a tune walkthrough on your channel. I would love to see that. Everybody raise your hand if you if you want to see Anthony do that. Not to put him on the spot, but Anthony, I love the videos that you do put out. It's really fun to see you working in your studio, and it's very inspiring. So thanks for that. Let's see what else is going on in here. Could build up to that vocal with the effects in a break. Yeah. You know, this is an idea. I'm going to do this right. I'm just going to say this right now. You guys can hold me to it. I'm going to save this as a project, and I'm going to bring this back and work on it again, and we'll take it to the next level. So we've got this sketch, right? We've got the vocal idea, and I'm going to save this chat and see, so I have some of your other ideas, so, you know, and see what that might fit, how that might fit. And I'm going to take note of your suggestions, and we're going to continue this. We'll work on this again. And at some point, maybe during the season, some of these live projects that I make live on stream, we can make these available for download. I think that could be fun. And the winner. Congratulations to our winner. The giveaway winner this week is Patrick Pinchinat. You are the lucky recipient of a 343 Pro session of your choice. We'll be getting in touch with you. So congratulations again. Oh, this is nice. Ronay Villas Boas. Did I get that right? Ronay Villas Boas just arrived. Are you from Kraftwerk? Very funny. Yeah. No, I'm channeling my inner Anthony Rother today, actually, in honor of his visit, of his kind visit today. Nice. Selway, can you get me these stems? I'd love to have a play with them. Well, yeah, that's what I was just saying. We're going to do it. We're going to save this project and make it available. And that's definitely something that I want to keep doing going forward, to make this a little bit more interactive and make music together and learn together. Cool. And then just as a little segue back into 343 Labs and what we are doing lately. But we have this 343 Studio beta going on. And, you know, for a monthly subscription, when we get it going officially, you know, we're going to provide feedback, you know, kind of one-on-one. It's not like taking a class, right? We will have workshops. There are some sort of class-oriented things like our collaboration workshop, you know, where you would come back each week and team up with other producers and make music together. And then, you know, each week come back and work with your instructor and kind of see how things are going. And, you know, we're going to do one-off workshops on different particular concepts, ideas, styles of music. I'm going to do an Electro, just a quick hour-and-a-half workshop, similar to what we did today, but, you know, in a Zoom meeting, so we're all like working together, and it's even more interactive than this is. And so that's, you know, something to look into, that we want to grow, and hopefully you guys will be interested and join us in that. And then, of course, also, if you haven't checked out our Discord community, we want to keep growing that. I'm in there every now and then giving feedback for tracks. So, you know, there's a channel in the Discord where you can post whatever you're working on. We'll take a listen. I'd love to hear some more Electro and Techno feedback requests in the Discord, so please join us there. So again, thanks to all of you for joining me today. This has been fantastic. Special thanks to Anthony Rother, and of course, my secret guest, Christian Smith's 909, for helping out with the beats today. And that's going to be it for me. Thanks once again. Enjoy your week. Come back on Monday, and I'll see you next time. Adios.